So obviously this is all a moot point if we don't have an NFL season, which let's hope. Let's all knock on wood. Let's all the TMP out there. Sure. But obviously we saw baseball implode on itself this week with a couple, horrible cases with the Marlins situation. Is football in danger of that? Because, we do have baseball's a huge locker room. Football's even bigger locker room. What steps do you think the NFL needs to take between now and then? Is there any, or are you just accepting people are going to get sick at this point?
I don't know how you accept people getting sick. You got to do something to prevent it. And I think it's discouraging what's going on with the MLB because that's not a contact sport. They're doing everything they can to keep people away from each other. They're recycling balls between at bats so that not multiple people touch it. In the NFL, if one player has COVID-19 and it's not caught, he goes and plays, he's going to touch how many people? Dozens. And then they touch people. And then pretty much by the end of practice, I would imagine the whole team has it. That's the worst case scenario. And then also in the NFL, you have players who are 300 pounds. I'm not a doctor. From what I understand, those people are at a higher risk of COVID-19 because it's a respiratory disease. You have all that extra weight on your lungs, on your rib cage. So, I'm nervous. I want there to be the NFL because I cover it for a living and my money depends on it. But at the same time, I don't think it's not fair that these people should have to put their lives on the line for me to make $1 and for us to have entertainment. So I totally understand them being cautious and I hope everything works out. The way I see it is I'd be shocked if there's a full 16-game season. I don't think there's going to be a full season. I think there's going to be a complete season, which is kind of what the baseball and basketball are trying to do. You start late. Maybe you postpone it. You take all the precautions you can. And then at the very end, when there's no more time left to waste, you play the games and do the best you can. But what you don't want is what basketball did. It wasn't their fault, but you don't want to start and stop and start up again. You want to do what baseball did. They had more time, is start as late as possible. So what I think is they've already canceled the preseason. They've pushed back training camp. They'll see what they can do. If there's an outbreak in training camp, they're going to shut that down. And if they can make it through training camp with no outbreaks, then they'll eventually start the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if they end up canceling the first month or two and then rescheduling everything, making sure everyone plays their division games, and then there's like a 10 or a 12-game schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, kind of like how the MLB is going to a 60-game schedule. And then, it's kind of, we're talking like multiple hypotheticals down the line, but if they were to go to a 12-game schedule, I don't think that helps the 49ers because their main competition in the NFC are teams with old quarterbacks. The Bucs with Tom Brady, the Saints with Drew Brees. Brees in particular fades as the season goes on. We've seen it. The first 3 months of the year, he's as good as Mahomes or better. And then December and January comes along, and it's like he can't throw the ball anymore. He's lost velocity. Well, if he only has 12 regular season games to play, maybe that won't be an issue. So I think the Niners should be rooting for a full 16-game schedule.